Welcome to yet another episode of the AGS Like a Pro tutorial series that teaches you how to use Adventure Game Studio like a professional. In this episode, we will focus on Git. So if you're a project leader, you might think, wow, that is scary. Why in the world would I want to use Git? But there are many advantages in using Git. What is Git? Git is a code versioning tool used by programmers. A code I never know how to pronounce versioning or versioning. Uh, this kind of tools is used for keeping track of versions of the files, all the versions and all the conflicts and how you merged the files and who modified what and so on. It is, of course, much more advanced than what we saw in the previous episode, the conflict resolution services and version services provided by your cloud service. This is much more advanced. It's very powerful. It's industry standard. And if you have several people modifying your game scripts, if you are part of a team, or if you use third-party modules, which is modules made by other people that you might have, for example, downloaded from the AGS forums, then you definitely have to use Git. So Git is not easy, okay? It's an advanced tool. If you're a programmer, obviously it's not too advanced for you. You know how to use it. You have used it. But let's have mercy for those who are not programmers. It's not easy at all. But if you are a project leader, if you have a medium-sized project, if you are faced with issues of conflicts, you should definitely know the basics. You should at least know how to retrieve the latest updates for a third-party module that you are using in your game. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about how to integrate the third-party module called Tween into your game. That's a very common module to use. Tween is very useful, very powerful, and you want to integrate it in your game, but not manually. You want to do it in a clean way that will let you get the latest updates of that module if the module's author changes it. So let's do that. First, you have to go to you have to spot on which Git host this module is hosted. So if we take the example of the Tween module, we can see that it is hosted on github.com. That's one of the many websites that lets you host a Git project. So let's go there. Let's go to GitHub. So this is the standard welcome page of a Git module. Git, what you call a repository. It's the online storage space where the code is stored. So you have to create a Git account. This is my account. So you have to create one and log into Git. So you will see many buttons, but what you want is first to create your own version of that module, the version that you will be able to modify in your game without interfering with the main developer's version. But you will still be able to pull his modifications into your version. So to do that, you create a fork. That means you move away from the original version, and as you can see, the GIF shows you that it's kind of you created a photocopy of that, a clone of that module into your own space. So as you can see, before it said Edmundito/AGS Tween, and now I've been brought to a page that says me/AGS Tween. So all the files are exactly the same, but this is mine. This is mine. But that's still very virtual. It's still on the internet. What you want to do now is clone it on your computer, because Git is very peculiar in the way that it works remotely. You do not work directly in the cloud. You work on a local copy of it that is on your computer, and that is called cloning. So it gives you the URL that you need to use, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. First, you need to install Git. So you need to understand that GitHub is not Git. GitHub is only a website that centralizes for free many Git projects. But Git is the actual tool, and you need to have it on your computer. So you type Git, you go to the Git website, and you download it. You download it, you install it, and you run it. So it's on my computer. I made sure that I downloaded not only the command line tool, but also the interface. And now I have it there. It's Git. So as I said before, we need to clone my branch after forking. By the way, after I clicked on fork, yeah, I said branch, but it's not a branch, it's a fork. So I need to download my fork. So I take the URL that is here, I go to Git, and I click on clone existing repository. So I need to say where it is on the internet, and I need to say where it's going to go on my computer. So I'm going to create a folder here. I put Git in the name just to remember that it's not only a neutral folder, it's a folder that's used by Git. And I tell Git that this will go in that folder on my computer. Okay, so you must not enter the name of a folder that already exists, apparently. So now what it's doing is that it's downloading everything from the internet. So this interface will show you as soon as you change some files. So for example, if I go to git temp, now I see that all the files have been downloaded. And what if I modify a file? I save it, and in the Git interface I do rescan. Boom, it has detected that install.txt has changed, and it shows me exactly what has changed. In red are the things that have been removed, and in green are the things that have been added, and I've added this, so it appears there. So far, it hasn't. It has been saved on my hard drive, but it hasn't been saved as an official change to Git, to my clone of the repository. If I want to say, yes, okay, I've made it official, this change will be kept, you need to do stage changed. You need to add a comment to the commit, and you need to click on commit. This change has now been made official for that file. I can see the history of all the commits. It's somewhere in there. I don't remember in which menu. As you can see, it's a very rudimentary menu because it's normally a command line tool, and that's the most primitive interface. But you have much better interfaces, for example, if you use Visual Studio Code or that kind of professional programming tools. Anyway, I can't find the proper menu anymore, but you can see the history, and my change has been committed. But it is still on my local folder. It's still on my computer. Granted, it's not just on the hard drive. It's now in the repository after I do commit, but it still needs to be uploaded to the internet. So that's a third action that you call push. If I do push, it will commit it to the master branch, my version of the master branch, not Edmundito's version of the master branch, because let me remind you that right now we work with our own clone. I don't want to do a push, because now, if I want to really work like a pro, before I do any change, I will create my own branch. I want all of my work to be separate from what they call the master branch. It doesn't have anything to do with whether or not it's my code or Edmundito's code. It has to do with what kind of modifications I'm doing. Is it really part of the main project, the main tween project, or is it part of something else that I want to keep separate? And in this case, yes, it is part of my own customization that I will do for my own game. So I am going to create a branch for that. So I give it a name. I say that it's branching off from master, and I click on create. So now I can change branch at any time. I can switch back to master or to my branch. And you will quickly see that, for example, if I say I am now working on my branch, if I modify a file, I save it, I rescan the changes, it tells me it has changed again, I commit this change, I forgot to click on stage changed, I commit this, and I push it. And where will it be pushed? It will be pushed in my branch, not in master. So I push it, and I will now see that this still contains my change, but what if I switch back to the master branch? I do checkout, master, what do I see here? Oh, it tells me that the file has changed. Yes, because Git has switched to the other branch. And so now it has reloaded the file as it was in the other branch, in the master branch. I can switch as many times as I want. Each branch has a separate life, and I can start modifying the files in my branch independently from the files in Edmundito's master branch. That's pretty cool. And now you're going to ask me, but what if Edmundito does changes to his code? How can I get the latest update? Well, you can do that. All you have to do is pull the changes from his branch into yours. I will not cover this in this tutorial, but that is the main point of this. Pull changes from the main branch, the master branch of the person who is making the module, into your branch that you use in your game and that you have configured for your game. That's the first installment for Git. Thanks a lot.